The Good Ride, sucking less every year for over 10 years. This, my friends, is the 2019 Arbor Coda Camber, System Camber review by The Good Ride here, as you know. I rode this with Adidas Tactical ADVs and Union Stratas, and I also rode it with Union Atlases on another day. This is a 161, a 162. It's a bit big for me. I'd be much happier on the 156, and I think that would be more my board. So being on this 162 was not a real good fit for me, and so I didn't put a lot of time on this, but I took a little time on snow, rode it in some softer, fun, perfect Mountain Bachelor groomer snow, and then rode it in with just a touch of powder, not much. Didn't even film that day. And then rode it on some hard groomers. I really wanted to test the system camber and see how this works, and those were the conditions that I had it. And just to give you a quick summary, this is you know, kind of like a mountain freestyle twin that has a camber feel in a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways doesn't. When they call this system camber, it definitely has a different feel, and it changes a little bit according to the conditions. But all in all, it's a directional twin, true twin kind of board that you center up. You have a mountain freestyle approach to things, but it has 7 inserts, so you can set back a little bit more than you would your average like twin, almost twin, directional twin board. It's got that camber feel without the catch of camber. I guess that would be the way to describe it, but without that hybrid camber float. So, you know, as far as we go here, it's stiff for, and it's a 62, but you know, I remember riding, I think it was the 59 or the 58 a few years back, and it felt pretty stiff too. What's weird though is on snow, it doesn't feel locked in or catchy. I couldn't butter very well with this, but I might have had a little better luck with a smaller size and a little more leverage. But what's interesting about this on snow feel underfoot, it's so different than what you would think. They call it system camber, but this little like raised up sides here really changes the ride, especially on hard snow. And I've never really had this out on super hard snow, but this morning I was riding this in some really hard patches, and really just long hard patches, and it really felt like even when I was a little bit on edge, it really didn't feel like I had my edges on the board. It felt kind of like you were on a like a flat to rocker, or a hybrid, not even a hybrid camber. It felt like it had a little bit of that battalion feel, where you feel like just the edges are lifted on the sides and you don't have edges there when you need them, when you want them. But what's weird though is when I put the weight into the board and down on the edge, it gripped like a champ. It felt like it wasn't going to grip, and it gave you this kind of uncertainty feeling, like you're spinning, you know, like when you flat based, you felt like you were completely free of your edges, and it's kind of a cool feeling in some ways. Whoa, there's just ice coming down off the tree above me, at least off to the left. But it just felt like you didn't have any edges and you were free, and that could be cool or not cool depending on how you feel. At first it made me a little concerned, especially in the hard snow, like am I just gonna slide out? But every time I put the edge onto the snow, it did its job. So it's a very different feel. It doesn't quite feel like hybrid camber. It doesn't quite feel like hybrid rocker. It kind of feels in between there. Sorry for almost letting exceptionally average out there. But it's a very unique on snow feel. But it has that pop of camber, and you can carve like you're on camber, but then it just doesn't have that catch from that lifted sides there, that fender uprise technology. And the edge holds good thanks to the little, you know, the little bumps here. And check the on the table review, you can see these little bumps over each binding. and it really makes the board grip much better than you would think, and it helps combat that feeling on hard snow of that, you know, that kind of edgeless feel. And then, you know, the turn initiation, this is the 62. I can't really talk about it because it's a little too big, it's a little too much, but I could turn it pretty quick. The 56 I think would have been semi-fast to fast and fun, quick turn initiation. You know, going into bigger turns and fun turns and carving, I felt like this turning experience is pretty fun. It's definitely different with the uprise fender technology, but it does grip and you can get that full camber feel on a turn. It's a little different, and depending on the condition, if you ride it in some soft snow, you'll be like, this thing's sick. And then you get it on hard snow and you're like, wow, you might like it or not like it, but it's very different than how it feels in softer snow. And the speed, this thing, well, I'm riding a 62. It's fast, it's damp. It's not like the old Codas I used to ride that used to be these kind of soft, poppy, playful boards. This is definitely damp, mean, and aggressive. And you know, for powder, like I said, I haven't really tested it in some deep powder, but this is kind of like, you know, it's not catchy, but it doesn't really have any like early rise tech that truly helps with powder like some boards do. But at least you've got some extra setback on board, and you can get like 1.75 inches back on board, or like a 3.5 inch difference between nose and tail when set all the way back. And that's not bad for camber, but yeah, if you want an easier floater and you want to, you know, center it up and an easier floating twin, then the Coda rocker would be better, the system rocker. But you know, I think if you know how to ride a camber board in powder, you'll know how to ride this and it won't be bad at all. Uneven terrain, this handles, you know, uneven terrain pretty well. The base keeps its speed pretty well. I could ride switch really well. It's, you know, it goes almost the same way either way. Maybe the only thing that would be better is an asymmetrical twin. And you know, I didn't really hit the park or anything. It's kind of like that mountain freestyle board. It goes switch really well. It goes regular. You can go in the pipe and hit kickers with this and do a good job. It's not the kind of board I'd like to jib with. But overall, I think it's a fun board and it's a beautiful board. And if you want that full camber kind of feel, in a way, a mostly camber kind of ride, but you don't want that catch. You want that same forgivingness that the system rocker and other boards have, but that more spring and more camber drive, then you might like the Arbor Coda Camber.